listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katee Van Horn.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Inclusive AF podcast. My name is Katee Van Horn.
And my name's Jackye Clayton.
Yeah, it is. Don't you forget it, people. So, hey, for those of you who are listening, we have a special giveaway today. So Jackye and I had some fun and we got some, well, let's be clear. It wasn't you or me that was creative. We have people that we know that are creative.
We have people, yes.
We have some people who are creative, more creative than us. But we have a very fun giveaway for an Inclusive AF mug for those of you who are interested. What you have to do to earn this amazing mug is real simple. You can take a picture listening to this podcast, or you can take a picture, highlighting Inclusive AF podcast and tag us in your Instagram post, in your Facebook post, in your Twitter post, whatever it might be. On Instagram, you can tag Inclusive AF. On Twitter, LinkedIn, all those others, you can tag Jackye and I. So if once you do that, we will send you your mug. We'll reach out to you and send you your favorite mug. It's really amazing. Jackye, do you like drinking out of the Inclusive AF mug?
Yeah, and
Best
it's the perfect size.
It is. It truly is. So we have the right people to pick out the mugs and do the creative. All right, enough about that. So we have a fun guest today. I'm very excited to introduce Maia. Maia is coming to us. She is also a Chief People Officer. And so we will let her do her introduction and then we'll dive into some fun questions. So Maia, welcome. And please do introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me. I am Maia. I am the Chief People Officer of JUV, which is a purpose-driven marketing company that helps clients better reach and understand Gen Z and diverse young people. So there, I basically oversee hiring, retention, recruitment, company culture, EDIB, social impact, all that fun stuff. I am a Black queer woman that basically is trying to work to create better experiences for everybody based off of the experiences that I had at previous positions that I did not necessarily enjoy because of those specific identifiers. And on the side, I do a podcast as well. So I'm super excited to be on somebody else's podcast. Me and my best friend, Carmen, we host a Black Zillennial coming of age podcast called Big Fish, where we talk about all things related to coming of age, like how to navigate tough work conversations, how to navigate love, which is super annoying at this age. I'm 26. So y'all already know what that's like. Like it's super
It doesn't
irritating.
get any better at 46.
And that's what
to
I
be clear.
hear. That's what I hear. So what am I putting all this time for? But yeah, that's basically me. But I'm super excited to be here with you guys to chat.
Awesome.
If I knew then what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Change a thing, would ya?
Not one.
The lies.
Yeah, exactly. Makes for fun conversations over cocktails. So Maia, where are you based? Where are you today?
So right now I'm in Times Square. That's where our headquarters are. I'm sitting at our desk. I usually work from home in Brooklyn. Shout out Bed-Stuy. I'm right in between Bed-Stuy and Bushwick. But I am in New York City, the city that never sleeps, but slept a lot the past 2 years because of COVID. But right now in Times Square with the rest of my coworkers.
Very, very cool. Brooklyn holds a special place in my heart. I had to do a speaking engagement there. This has now been years ago. And I can never remember the name of the hotel, but it's right under the Brooklyn Bridge. And it's their whole thing is eco-friendly. And so they have like a fern inside, or not fern, what is moss, like inside the room. They have a water filter thing, whole situation. And of course, pizza. Who doesn't love pizza from New York? So
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about, so let's start with the podcast. So you all talk about kind of all the things on the podcast. Yeah. What are you finding? What are the insights that you have figured out recently?
It's so interesting. So the reason why I've always been interested in radio and podcasting. In college, I was involved in our campus radio, and I was the campus radio station manager. And our job was basically to find new, undiscovered, and unsigned artists to play on the radio. And I thought that that was super fun. Everybody also had to have a radio show if you worked at the radio station. So that's sort of where it happened. Like I had to have a radio show, but I was like, oh, I kind of like this. This is like very cool. And I also like talking, if you guys haven't noticed already, like I'm a big talker. So when I graduated, obviously I couldn't have a radio station, podcaster, super in. So I figured, hey, why not? I have something to say too. And I really just started it with my best friend because I just feel like Black women never have coming of age stories. Like Black women are always viewed as monoliths, which are just like, Black women are strong and they're intelligent and they're sort of built to endure. And I hate that like narrative that Black women are strong, because it basically just says that Black women are sort of built to endure pain and like, you'll get through it because this is like normal. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And it's like, no, like I make mistakes sometimes and I'm vulnerable and like, I want to cry and I want to laugh and I want to be excited by things. And I just wanted a space to do that. And a space to just talk about a lot of the things I've learned, even though I'm 26 and have a lot more to learn. I feel like I've also learned a good amount thus far. So we just wanted to create this podcast to be able for Black women to like learn and grow, and provide a safe space for that, is essentially what it is. And what I've learned thus far is that vulnerability makes me uncomfortable. As much as I'm an advocate for it, vulnerability sucks and it's hard. And I've learned that even though I'm a self-aware person and I'm super honest and open about myself, that doesn't mean you're vulnerable. That's what I've learned. Like you can detach from that. You can tell a fact and not be vulnerable. And I struggle with that. So that's one thing I've learned from Big Fish.
I love that. You're so right. And I can appreciate sharing some of that narrative of the things. And I feel like, especially going through this as a Black woman, people, it's one of those things like you don't even understand what other people are dealing with. Like I'm told that I'm supposed to be strong, but at the same time, it's like not recognizing what strong is for me and what vulnerable means for me. And it's like so often, especially now, like it's more than just crying, right? It's not just about that. It's about being able to be true. I need to be able to be true, fully myself, and I need you to not cry.
Yeah.
Like as I'm telling my story.
Yeah, just hold the tears, please.
Yeah, please hold the tears. So and trying to go through all of that. So I love that, because I have a podcast with my best friend, even though we have been like up and down in hiatus as we're going crazy. What would you say is one of the most shocking things or surprising things you've learned through doing your podcast?
Ooh, what is the most shocking or surprising things that I've learned from doing my podcast? That's a good question. I think I've learned, one, that I don't take care of myself enough. And I don't have to tell you guys, doing your own podcast is not a joke, is not a game. I obviously work full-time. I'm also a part-time student currently getting my MBA. So doing I am also on hiatus right now because it's been a rough semester. And I learned that I just pile stuff on and I don't know what it is. And I've learned recently I was watching the Steve Harvey show recently for some reason. I believe it was Steve Harvey show, but somebody said, I say no first and then think about it later. And like, I'm the opposite. I'll say yes first and be like, damn it, why the hell did I say yes to that? Knowing I probably will not have the social energy in like 2 days. And I learned that I don't take care of myself. And that's not to say I don't enjoy podcasting at all. And I love it. And it's such an outlet. But I learned that I pile things on a lot. And just because I'm also a good time manager and I'm a good organizer doesn't mean that I don't need a break, is what I've learned.
Yeah, just because you can doesn't mean you have to.
That part. And I'm just learning that like last week.
No, I'm glad you learned it. I just said it. I don't actually live my life that way, but I plan on it.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Theoretically, it's a really good piece of advice. Yes, absolutely. And I was able to listen in yesterday on a conversation about the most recent McKinsey Women in the Workplace study. And I know this will shock both of you, but women of color are taking on more and more at work and at home. I know that's surprising.
Oh my God.
I I'm listening, and it was a Teams call, it was a virtual event, and all these people are like, "Oh, that's so shocking." I'm like, "But is it really? Is it really?" Like,
Nobody fell out. I would have like walked away, just like fully walked away from the mic. Like,
yeah.
how much did anybody pay? Did anybody pay for that study? Oh, wait, we'll just get to that.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many millions went into it? Because you could just look. You could get me a Birkin bag, and I will do a full study.
Yeah, I will tell you what's what.
Yeah, get it to you in about a week.
Yes, indeed. Well, that one I did chuckle a bit when there was some surprise in the on the call, and I was like, okay. But I think that this is something that so many people are coming to this reckoning of. I love what you said of like saying no first and thinking about it later. Like that is, I think all women can take that advice, especially women of color can take that advice, because it is, oh, I just want to take on more because that's what is expected, with no conversation, with no, hey, this is going to be hard. None of that, because the minute you say, oh, this will be hard, or I don't know if I can do this, there is that, well, wait a minute. Are you the one then? Or do I need to, you know what I mean? So social impacts. Let's talk about it. So tell us a little bit. So tell us a little bit about what you all do in regards to social impact with the consultancy.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we, by nature, are a purpose-driven company. And for us, that means having that embedded in our company from the beginning. It's not something that we waited to add when we could. It's something that's always been at the foundation of the company. From when we started, there was always a budget for it. There was always a strategy behind it. And not just specifically for the social impact department, but how do we maintain purpose throughout all of our departments and throughout all of our initiatives, about the way that we pick partners, who we're working with. That's a big thing. And not just who are we working with, but what are they asking us to do? Because I'm sure you guys are familiar, you get a lot of clients that are just like, just make it seem like we're doing something. Like just make it seem like we care about X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, let's explore why you should. Let's explore the ways that you actually can. So that's one aspect, just fundamentally being a purpose-driven company and caring about the causes and the things that are affecting Gen Zers globally. As it relates to our specific social impact department, the way that I oversee, along with my colleague Daniel, the way that I like to think about our social impact department, it's all about access and it's all about empowering. So who should we be working to empower and elevate in terms of folks that are already doing the work? Because it doesn't really make sense for us to reinvent the wheel. There's going to be a nonprofit anywhere you go that is already doing the work that you're thinking about doing. Elevate them. Like, they need the money, they need the resources, they need the human capital. Let's find them. So that's one part of it. It's working locally within NYC and also other communities, because we do have employees that are remotely. So we have the ability to connect with them and ask them, hey, who should we connect with in your city? So that's one part of it, is working with them locally. But another part is providing access to Gen Zers. So we do that through micro grants, but we also do that through programming. One big initiative that we rolled out for the first time last year that I'm excited to continue this year is our Gap Year program. So JUV will bring on a student for 9 months to do a rotational program in 3 different departments, just to simply get experience. That was the most annoying thing that I experienced as somebody who was looking for a job. You don't have experience and you can't do this. And it's like, well, I can't afford to do an unpaid internship, right? And then folks also don't want to give you the experience before you have it. So that, for me, the Gap Year program was something super important for us to provide access and experience to Gen Zers remotely. And so those are some of the things that we have worked on thus far in terms of what we're doing in the future. We have a plethora of conversations with a bunch of different nonprofits that I was mentioning before about how we can elevate and support their efforts. So through that, we offer pro bono consulting for nonprofits and organizations that need it, whether that's helping them improve their social media so they can get their voice out there, whether that's us partnering them with our clients in terms of doing sponsorships and events, whether that's partnering them with our influencers so they can have ambassadors for their program. That's some of the work that we have done in our social impact department.
I want to go back to something that you just said, and I think it's something that we could spend some time on. You know, the idea that I can't take an unpaid internship. And it's something that Jackye and I've talked about a little bit. And, that goes back to that accessibility piece. And, I work with a client and they do, they work with the federal government through the VISTA program. And for those of you who don't know, it's a very low paid internship basically. And you're going into underserved communities and helping them with something. And it is so hard to even think about because it's literally not even below minimum wage. It's just nothing that you could live off of, but they do get a small stipend.
Right.
I would love for you to talk a little bit about just, kind of what that accessibility piece really means to folks from underserved communities and folks that just wouldn't have the opportunity, that don't have mommy and daddy to fall back on to say, hey, get me an apartment or get me a whatever.
Hi, we're Meg and Amy from The Meg and Amy Show.
We're not only tech execs and big picture thinkers, we're also best friends.
We're curious learners. And on this podcast, we're challenging the status quo and activating the future.
And we're going to give advice about work and leadership, right, Meg?
We can't help ourselves. But this podcast is about exploring possibility, not being right.
That sounds refreshing.
For more, tune in to The Meg and Amy Show.
Yeah. It means, there's so many things that it means. It means a lot. So I also am a first generation low income student. My mother did not go to college. My father is not in my life. My mom ended up going back to college when I was in high school, which is also an interesting experience, having to help her and study with her, and also trying to be strict. I'm not telling you the answer, you have to figure it out, and here's how you figure it out. But yeah, I grew up in a household, 2-bedroom apartment in Queens, Left Rack, Queens, with about 5 people sharing a bed with my brother. So I know all too well that experience. And what I can say, speaking for myself, is that all we need is somebody to take a chance. And that sounds super corny, but that is truly all we need, is somebody to take a chance. I say this often, that I feel like I got where I'm at because somebody saw something in me and was willing to take a bet on me. And that's all you need. But the problem is, folks from minoritized communities are less likely to receive that grace. And that's the issue. And we know why they're less likely to receive that grace, whether it's prejudice, bias, systematic racism, et cetera. But even just receiving that opportunity just gives me more faith in myself. So it means a lot to me to see somebody who I know is capable of doing a job being like, hey, I can see you doing this, and I'm going to provide you the chance to do that with money. It's so wild to me that unpaid internships are even still a thing. And I just can't, I just know how stressful it was for me going to college and working 3 jobs. And I just can't imagine if one of those jobs were free. I have to take care of myself, and I have to, I've been paying my bills since I was 16. And I don't think people consider the amount of children, because they're low income or first generation, that are doing a lot of things on their own, trying to make it. And I think that folks just taking a bet on you makes a huge difference.
It should be illegal.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Very much.
I thought we had rights against that. I mean, it's just dumb. I mean, and some of the experiences that you get isn't great. I mean, I talk about my oldest child, Clay, who's about to move to New York. We'll talk offline because they need a place to live.
Got you.
Editor, take that out. But anyway, but when you was oh, you're a math major, come be a systems architect. And they're like, okay, but I'm a math major. And they were like, look, you're actually a systems architect. And it's I am. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And giving those opportunities. And I think we have to do more in high school about advocacy, and teaching people how to advocate for themselves, because especially I live, in Waco, Texas, which is just like Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, but a little bit different. And those kids don't know that they even have an opportunity to go. They think this is where you are supposed to be. You see generations where it's
right.
This is just what I do or what we do, and don't have an opportunity to see any other way of life out, because when you live in the middle of nowhere. So teaching them to advocate for themselves, to even speak up, can be a challenge.
That's super important because being in HR and people ops, I mean, it's statistically proven that folks that are more likely to advocate for themselves are white and or male. And I can also say from experience that that is absolutely the case. And I don't know if it's because, I don't know if we were, like, to your point, never taught to advocate for ourselves, or I don't know if we get nervous about it. Somebody asked me this question before, and I was like, honestly, before I started working in HR, I never even thought about like doing a counter offer for a job. It was just like, okay, whatever you give me is what I'm taking. And it's so interesting here, like being in HR and seeing the statistics ring true. And I just want to be like, no, fight for whatever it is that you want. Like that's totally okay. Like a lot of my friends come to me for advice that work outside of the company. And I'm like, girl, this is how you do it. This is what you say, because I guarantee you somebody else is advocating for themselves unasked. That's also a thing, unasked, like just sending an email like, hey, can I be considered for X, Y, and Z? And you should do the same. Go out there. Everybody else is doing it.
I have to tell you, my best day is when someone goes, well, and when I was like, what are you looking for? And they were like, oh, I would be, I think I'd be happy at 90. And I was like, well, the minimum on this is 120. Would you be okay with that? They were like, really?
Will I?
And I'm like, yeah. P.S. If you don't take this and it doesn't work out, this is what you need to be asking for at a minimum. Like this is the like start with this, because this is just one place. But you're right, you do see a lot of that in HR.
Yeah, I wish there was a class, to your point, in high school of just negotiation skills that, it's that they pulled the women aside, or, whoever it is, and just say, this is how you do this. Because it actually makes me very happy every time someone counters. And if it's not the typical person that I'm expecting to counter, that I would be remiss if I didn't ask for more. And you're like, yes.
Right.
No, I can't give you more, but yes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
But I love it. I love it. So, hey, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
And then we take a break.
I love that.
And we're back.
Woo! Love that. I want to talk about something that we kind of like touched on before the break. And you had mentioned like, why does that happen when you're talking about like white men always advocating and other people that don't fit into that narrative have the harder time. And I think there's one thing that has been passed down since the very beginning of generational trauma that goes through, and also people telling people that they're lucky. Right? You're lucky you have a job, like, or you're lucky I let you in here. And a lot of people don't realize, especially we know where that like there's a gap obviously for parents or education or having that background, and people do not know their worth.
Yeah.
They do not know their value. And that's why it's such a great push now. We're seeing like legally and coming up soon in May legally, we're going to see all of those salaries, so people can say, oh, I didn't even know I should have asked for that. I guarantee there are people that are going to be like, I've been grossly underpaid. You think the Great Resignation happened now?
Was a thing now. Yeah. That's so interesting that you say that, because it almost was like an epiphany, because I say that about myself often. Like I'm lucky to be where I'm at. I'm lucky to be able to do X, Y, and Z at 26. But it's like, doesn't mean that. Yeah.
Because let me tell you, I wasn't doing that at 20. Listen, I don't know. Don't tell my old boss when I was 26. But the thing is, it's like especially when you're grateful and you don't have the example of generational wealth or passing down of that wealth, and you see other people struggle, like you were saying, then like I remember, like I always say, when we were poor and then we were rich and then we were poor again and then we were like, and then we were rich and poor again. I remember like I was a bartender and being like, people giving me $20 for drinks and being like, gosh, I wish I had a $20 bill. Like, when was the last time I had a actual $20 bill? So then you're like grateful, but then you recognize, wait, I think we need to start looking at people like you're already talking about as a whole person and different qualities that they can add to the bottom line, not just title and those things. People have vast experiences that we can find
Yeah.
value of. They've given the opportunity.
Yeah, no, that is so true. I'm like, I'm all emotional now. I'm like, damn.
You taught me that. I'm not teaching you. You just taught me that. You taught me that before the break. You're touched by yourself right now. Your own words. Congratulations. You are amazing. Let me quote you back to you.
That is hilarious.
You are absolutely worth it.
I think that's a piece that, does get lost sometimes, though, is that, this is what we talk about when we're talking about diversity too, is giving opportunities with someone that maybe doesn't have the exact right experience or doesn't have all of the check marks marked, and that's something, again, we know for research. If, a woman is looking at a job description, she goes, oh, I shouldn't apply because I don't have all 10 of these checks on the check marks of the bullet points, and others will. And it is interesting because I love talking to folks that have a completely different background and having that conversation going, ooh, you know what they'd be really good at? And then throwing that out to them and they're like, had never thought about that. And those are the conversations too that are so fun, especially when it works out, of course.
Yeah.
That makes it like the best and doing this work so awesome is being able to have those opportunities to say, come and learn and do this and see how it goes.
Absolutely. I think it's also a two-part situation. I think one, we need to encourage folks who are less likely to do that, to apply to those things, even if they're not 110% qualified. That's one part. But I think another part on the hiring side is to be open-minded about it. Like if like for us, for example, because we are representing Gen Z, we want our company to be as representative of the generation as possible. And that fundamentally means that a lot of people that we hire are not going to be qualified for some things because we hire a lot of Gen Zers. A lot of times it's their first job, or they've been at JUV for so long that JUV is all they know. But it's all about, one, like I was saying earlier, sort of taking that chance, but two, I've seen a lot of this in a lot of articles about sort of how to navigate through the Great Resignation, but bringing on folks who aren't checking all the boxes and giving them an opportunity to develop professionally with you and grow with the company, and learn to love the company in that same way. And I think that it's a great retention mechanism, but I also think it's an opportunity to bring in people that you may not even considered before, which is obviously going to be amazing for your company and for your culture and for the folks working there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. Are you frozen? Are you just looking? Are you blinking? That's the first time. Everybody not moving.
I was just blinking frozen. Because sometimes it's almost like, sometimes I was just like thinking about it, shaking my head as you saw, because sometimes it's just honestly kind of wild that not everybody thinks this way in my head. Right. Like sometimes I'm just like, this is common sense, is it not? But my mom says common sense ain't so common, so it's not. I gotta remember that. Yeah,
it is not.
But I think it also goes to another point that comes up, and this is how many folks do we that are mediocre at best that have been given opportunities and kind of go, how'd that work out? And because of the network they have, because of who they know, because of whatever, whose dad, whatever, they get these opportunities. And so it is happening. It's how do we expand it to let everyone in on this work and on this network and on whatever you want to call it, to say, let's take a chance, or hey, what's the worst that can happen? I'm all at.
Don't ever say that. Ever.
I knock
There's so
on
many
wood.
things that could happen.
Yeah,
I knock on wood.
Let me tell you what could happen. It did.
But like I'm just saying, like the taking a chance and going, hey, let's see if this person could do this work. And if it doesn't out, then you go, okay, well, hey, we tried that. Yes. But I also, the only piece I'm gonna now contradict what I just said, because I also hate when folks are brought in is the Hail Mary. Oh, well, let's see if this, woman of color can come in and take over something that no one could fix. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we tried that diversity thing and it didn't work out. So now we're not going to do that anymore. I don't know.
Welcome to The Human Role, your go-to podcast where HR and payroll collide with innovation. I'm your host, Tiana Neal, and every month I'm diving deep with industry experts and change makers, bringing you real talk insights, practical tips, and fresh takes you won't hear anywhere else. Whether you're a leader, practitioner, or just curious about the latest HR and payroll trends, I've got you covered. Ready to roll with the best? Tune in for fresh perspectives, actionable tips, and the knowledge you need to roll forward with confidence. Subscribe now and let's transform the way you work.
That's such a good point that you bring up, because I thought about, it's so funny. I thought about that exact point when the mayor of New York City used the words low skill and high skill worker, which obviously for a lot of reasons is completely incorrect, and I'm sure you guys know. But that's the instant thing that I thought about, was like, when I started here, I had no idea what the heck I was doing, like at all. I figured it out. We were a really early startup at the time. So like we were all just figuring it out. And like, thanks to the universe, we eventually got it together and we're doing, pretty okay. But nobody at the company when I joined should have been doing a lot of the roles that they were doing, because we were technically unqualified. But we learned, we figured it out, and we made do it what we could. But I also think about when I was going into the workforce and everybody telling me it's not what you know, it's who you know. And then for us to try to diminish folks based off of the roles that they are operating in, and assuming that it's based off of their skill, is just wild to me. When in reality, it's an work in capitalism is an exclusive space. It's not inclusive. It is about who you know, and it's about what you have access to. And a lot of minoritized groups do not have that access for a lot of reasons. And it has nothing to do with skills. And that goes back to, again, that if you are not qualified 110% for that role, throw your hat in there. Throw your hat in there, because there's a bunch of other people who are also doing the same.
Well, and I think we're seeing it play out live right now at the Supreme Court level of a highly qualified person being questioned and questioned and questioned. And it's like,
I'm full triggered. I don't know if you saw, I just put it on LinkedIn from the LA Times. There's a professor at Georgetown that let their class, Women in Gender Studies program, watch it. And she said, in watching Ketanji Brown Jackson's Senate hearing, said, this is just a masterclass in how Black women have had to be patient, to be fully composed in responding to things that are meant for destruction. These are the kinds of attacks that Black women get in their professional roles. And it's like, I'm fully triggered. Like, I mean, and it happens all of the time. I don't think people recognize how steep, people like to say systemic racism, but they don't talk about systemic white supremacy. This is like everything is based in that white supremacy, including the way that we interview and hire. That was determined by white men who already had the privilege. That's why these are the things we're dismantling. So if you don't look at it like that, that's why it's like, it's who you know, because that's not, we don't base it on potential. We don't hire based on potential. And the better security, the better IT is getting and all of the AI that's getting, the worse it's going to be, because we have lost sight on what is not being said on a resume that shows that this person is somebody we need to bring in.
That's such a valid point. That is such a valid point. And I also think about, the fact that they're going to, I feel like everybody has had the experience at some point in their work life where they have encountered at one point or another somebody who was mediocre and should not have been in that position. And it's like, if you're willing to take that chance on that person, you might want to take that chance on somebody else as well.
And I should be okay, right?
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
We have all like walked into a store or gone to a service and been like, how did you get this job? Like, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall through that process, because.
Well, and it's also, how did you get that job? And how do you keep that job when you don't do anything?
That's right.
How? Tell me how.
And demand for more money. I've met them too.
Mhm.
And mad that they didn't get a raise.
Mhm.
Y'all trigger me right now. Y'all
Yeah,
are
I was
triggering
gonna
me
say,
right
yeah. You're gonna have.
Settle.
it's just- you didn't know you were gonna get all fired up coming on this
Woosah.
podcast, did you,
now.
Maya?
Yeah, I'm getting
Yeah,
a little warm.
There's still a lot of work to be done, to be clear. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about the consultancy. So social impact, obviously. Who are your clients? Who are you working with? What's your focus area?
Yes. So as I was mentioning before, we are a purpose-driven marketing company, and we fundamentally just help clients better reach and understand Gen Z. So clients will come to us with a specific ask, and we'll partner them with Gen Zers on our team. We have folks in all 50 states as well as internationally to conduct research, to co-create campaigns, to execute on any strategy, live activations, presentations, social media audits, retainer services, the whole nine. Some of our clients that I can say include JanSports, Beyond Meat, Timberland are some of our past clients. We also worked with BET, as well as a few nonprofits as well, and startups like Avia, Geneva, Levi's, Beats. We worked with a really cool company, and I'm blanking. Oh, Freedom March NYC, which is a nonprofit in New York City, Black woman nonprofit that was really, really prominent in the summer of 2020 when the murder of George Floyd happened and the world wanted to suddenly pay attention. They held a lot of the walks and I'm blanking on the word. They held a lot of the walks and protests that happened in New York City in the summer. And we worked with them during that summer to help them with sponsors and partnerships with our clients, as well as we recently did a Black History Month and International Women's Day video with them, highlighting the fact that Black women are not a monolith and the many different faces and aspects of Black women. So we work with nonprofits, small companies, political campaigns as well, and some of the bigger companies that I mentioned.
Awesome.
I
Very
love that.
cool.
That's cool.
It is. I'm not gonna lie. My job, I will say, that does not mean it's not stressful. I don't have to tell y'all, working with clients at any organization can be a little stressful at times, but I can honestly say I enjoy my job. I enjoy the fact that we can be honest with our clients. Like, we've hopped on calls and been like, that's trash, or like, that's racist and you need to change that, and here's why. And I don't feel like I've worked at other companies before. JUV is not my first job, and I don't feel like that is something that could fly at other companies or in their culture, to have a lot of those tough conversations. And even internally, we've had folks, be like, hey, could we try doing things this way? And we'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, let's adjust. So I really enjoy that about JUV.
That's awesome. And I love the idea of calling out those times when a marketing campaign or whatever it might be just is like, wait, I'm sorry. Who said this is okay?
Yeah.
This is a good idea. I'm thinking back to which Jenner was it that did the Pepsi
I
commercial?
was gonna bring it up. Kendall.
Yeah.
Kendall.
Candle.
Bring it up.
Oh
Sweet
my
baby.
goodness.
Sweet baby.
Yeah. Oh, honey.
Doesn't know.
Bless
Yeah.
your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Bless
sugar.
her heart.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But I mean, I think all of us can think of probably right off the top of your head where you're like, who was in that room? Who was in the room that said that was okay?
Right.
Very cool.
I think I told you, like, I started to do that lately because of the algorithm. We were watching, me and my oldest were watching a movie, and all of the commercials were of Black people, which started feeling like a weird Get Out moment. Like, this isn't like normal for me. And I started feeling a little uncomfortable. And then we started looking at it like, how realistic is this? Like, we were looking at the commercial and being like, no Black people are doing that. Nobody's doing that.
Through a meadow,
that doesn't make sense.
through a meadow.
Throwing frisbees, swinging kids in the park, eating Cheerios. Nobody's doing that. That is not attractive to me. That does not look like real life to me.
Okay, you just brought up Cheerios. Can we talk about iced tea now being the Cheerio person.
Listen, they must be not JUV. It's like that's a Gen X marketing. That's what I was like. Could you imagine?
I don't
like,
but I'm also like, Ice-T, I'm ashamed for you. I am not okay with this. I do.
Everybody has to pay their bills, Katie.
He's got Law and Order money,
doesn't he?
Law and Order.
Yes, that's right.
I'm gonna call Coco and be like, get your husband off of these commercials immediately.
Listen, Coco wants the money. I just don't even. I can't.
Guys,
if anyone knows how we can get a hold of Coco, let us know. We need to talk to her immediately.
That's right.
Fun fact, I actually went to, I don't know if you guys remember this, Ice-T and Coco were supposed to have a daytime talk show.
Yes.
Like I went to their like first ever taping with my mom.
Oh,
what was that like?
What was it like?
Did you see Coco in person?
Yes, we saw Coco in person, and the person that they were actually interviewing, the guest, was actually from Orange is the New Black. I'm blanking on her name. She has like a buzz cut, but she has like the swoop in the front. Totally blanking on her name, but she was there. It was fun. There were some actors there in the audience. I don't know if that's normal for like daytime talk shows to hire actors. I thought it was fun. I got to skip school, went with my mom, and they didn't know what they was doing, but it was funny.
I'm going on the YouTube after this. I'm gonna look it up.
I need to look this up.
Yeah.
I want to go back to one thing that you mentioned. So, you were talking about if I don't know the answer, if I don't know how to do something, what do you do? What is your answer? How do you handle it? Like, I think we all have these moments, and I'm not talking about, moments when you're, not believing in yourself or any type of, weirdness there. I just mean like, hey, I don't know how to do this. How do you handle that? What do you do?
So you're talking specifically in the role, in the job?
Sure. Yes.
I've encountered that a lot, as I'm sure you can imagine as a 26-year-old CPO. I've encountered it quite a few times. So my first boss that I had, she would always, whenever I had a question, her first response would be, did you Google it? And that used to get on my nerves. Because sometimes I'm like, dang, can you just tell me the answer? I promise you it'll be quicker if you just said it than if I Googled it. But that is always my go-to now. Like, even if I just want to like confirm my answer, I just want to Google it. YouTube. And then my last resort is somebody that I know, somebody who's older than me, somebody who has more experience. I feel like sometimes Gen Z gets this narrative, even though I'm an older Gen Z, I'm sort of like Gen Z millennial. I feel like sometimes Gen Z gets this narrative that like, we think we know it all and we don't care about other generations and we don't have anything to learn. And that is fundamentally not the case. And it's also been proven to be true in numbers that Gen Z, just like other generations, also look towards mentorship and professional development when they're looking for places that they want to work and places that they want to stay. So I always go to, we do have millennials and non-Gen Zers on our team. So I'm always like, hey, what did your company do in X, Y, and Z situation? How would they have handled it? And sometimes I don't like the answer. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's like, ooh, I would never do that. And then I'll just like tweak it to something that is appropriate for our culture. But you have to kind of be resourceful, especially in startups when things are constantly changing so quickly. I don't really have time to wait on somebody to figure it out. Like, I'm gonna have to figure it out one way or another. And my go-to is usually going to somebody who has been through it and has the experience, or just doing the research.
So I love that answer. And that is my go-to as well as GTS, Google that shit. Because that is the first. And I got that, one of my dear friends, Joe, she used that one time in a professional setting and everyone around the table was like, what? And she explained what it was. And everyone was like, I don't think you can say that in this room. And it was like, yeah, you can. Because I just did. And it's fine. Everyone survived. Everyone lived to tell the tale. So GTS. So the way that we close out our show is we like to ask for one thing that you want to make sure the listeners heard, one thing that they can take away from this episode. And we say one. Jackye is very bad at this. She's super bad at it. Yeah. I've been really coaching her and giving her feedback on this
Katie
for a while.
And mine. And then because I've said 7, she'll be like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. What Jackye said. Yeah. So what's one thing you would want listeners to hear?
do I get to elaborate on my point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think the one thing I would want listeners to hear is having tough conversations. And what I mean by that is I think that folks, companies, organizations, groups of people who are willing to have tough conversations are folks that are, in my opinion, are worth having conversations with. And that is not me saying that I think that all minoritized groups should be educating folks, because I 110% don't believe that. I went to a PWI where I spent a lot of freaking money, but somehow I found myself educating people instead of the opposite, including the people that I pay to educate me. So I'm not saying that at all, but for the folks who are, folks like Erica Hart who are paid to do this work and educate and et cetera, or folks who don't mind having those tough conversations with people, I think that finding folks who are open and willing to have those tough conversations are the folks that you should be dedicating your energy to, and are worth having the conversations with. It's the folks who are not willing to have that ear and not willing to hear what you have to say that I think it's not even worth engaging with. So for me, that's the one thing I'd want listeners to take away.
Awesome. And I love what you're saying there, because I think there's also this piece of surrounding yourself with those people that you can have those conversations with. You get so much better yourself. Everybody takes something away. Everyone gets to learn something. And so that's such a huge one that I think all of us, and also like those difficult conversations. So also choosing folks that maybe have a different point of view to have in front of you. Sometimes you want to throat punch them, but it's okay because you're learning. We're all learning together, even though there's throat punching. Jackye, what's yours? What's yours, Jackye?
I think just, again, it's just reiterating. And I know we've said it several times. It's just giving people those opportunities, looking for the opportunities to give people the opportunities. Like you might not want to, there are some opportunities. Maybe you're not going to hire them as your CFO and they don't have any experience. However, look for opportunities to create opportunities so that you can open the doors and do that. I know it's only one really this time, but yeah.
Yeah, that was very good. I was waiting for more. I thought there were going to be.
I know, me too.
Things. Yeah.
No.
I'm going to go back to your Steve Harvey quote of the say no and think about it later versus say yes and think about it later. I love that idea. And I think so many people should take that away and, put that in your pocket. Because how many of us have been sitting on the couch at, 5:30 on Tuesday going, I don't want to go to the thing, whatever the thing is. I want to sit here and watch some trash TV and close my eyeballs. And so I think there's like that, just saying no first, that being your default is and saying no as a sentence, no other explanation needed, is also great. Maya, thank you. This has been super fun.
It was so fun. Please invite me back. This was great. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have found now that like part one always like it's always a good part one. We're like, let's have 6 more parts because we want everyone to come back. So you need to come back. Yeah, you definitely need to come back. So this is Katie Van Horn.
And this is Jackye Clayton. Bye. Okay. And this is the Inclusive AF podcast.
I judge you. I judge you right now. Bye-bye.
Bye.